I would bet that anyone who started martial arts early on, still as a novice, imagined himself defeating multiple attackers. After all, this imagination is fueled by hundreds of action movies where the main hero beats sometimes even more than 10 attackers. For an inexperienced person, it would seem that having the upper hand in martial arts or combat sports against multiple opponents would make the whole difference. Yet it is not how reality works. Unfortunately, not everyone who practices martial arts realizes this even after years of training and still believe that they could easily beat multiple attackers. This belief could be fatal if such a person would actually be attacked by more than one person. Thus, to bring more clarity to the subject of multiple attackers, I've interviewed two self-defense experts, Bruno Orozco and Paul Sharp, on whose thoughts this video is mainly based, and with their help, we will take a look at the reality of multiple attackers. It is interesting that very few martial arts even address the question of multiple attackers. Probably the only martial art that I am familiar with that spends a great amount of time on multiple attackers is aikido. Unfortunately, aikido suffers from lack of pressure testing and alive resistance, which would be experienced in a real situation. Thus, being able to defend against multiple opponents under aikido conditions would not prepare us for a real multiple attackers situation. Nevertheless, there is something valuable that the system offers, since as Bruno Orozco says, the secret of fighting against more than one is to never lose mobility. When training against multiple attackers in aikido, you are forced to always move, always noticing the position of the attackers and choosing a place where you are most difficult to reach in order not to be overwhelmed. This skill could be applied to an actual situation, yet there is another key component which is missing in aikido's training methodology, and that is striking. As Bruno points out, always change your position and knock out as quickly as possible one aggressor and then the following and then the next one. For that, techniques such as boxing and Muay Thai is ideal, as one strike is faster than a takedown, arm lock, or other similar techniques. So we have to know how to hit well, quickly, and appropriately. And striking is the only way to accurately deal with more than one opponent or attacker, because in reality, no one runs towards you with open arms as you throw them away. That is aikido fiction. While Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is extremely effective against a single opponent, many people point out that it is not suitable for dealing with more than one person. Bruno agrees with this point by saying, what a grappler is looking for is full engagement, to have a one-on-one contact, and you can't be with an aggressor for more than 4 seconds. For example, in my system, we measure the time of a defense, and it can't last more than 3 seconds. So we have to hit quickly in areas like esophagus, neck, genitals, solar plexus, using elbows, headbutt, knees, but never lose your mobility, never over-engage. Hit fast, hit hard, and move. Paul Sharp also offered insights that would be very valuable in such a situation. You gotta fight one person at a time. You have to use a person that is in front of you. You have to use them as a shield in front of the other person or people. So as much as possible, I will use footwork or control of their body by getting good position. I'm going to use that control to keep them away between myself and the other attackers until I can figure out a way of escape or a way to arm myself. I hope that those who are watching this video can understand the complexity of such a situation. While the strategies explained may sound easy to understand, we have to keep in mind that all of this would be happening in a chaotic situation where multiple people would be approaching the defender at the same time trying to really hurt him. In such a situation, to be able to always move, use others as barriers, find an escape route, or hit the right targets requires a huge level of mastery, and without proper and intensive training, it is almost impossible to do. Here, Paul Sharp also comments on the level of danger of such a situation by saying, realistically, you might get beaten to death if you try to deal with multiple attackers empty-handed. That's reality. Your brain can only take so many kicks and punches. If you're on the ground and you have multiple people kicking and punching you, you're in trouble. That's some serious body damage that's occurring. So you have to isolate the guy in front of you and keep him in front of you so that the others can't get to you. And then as soon as possible, get out of there. Find a way of escape. And if you can't find a way of escape, find a way to arm yourself. You're gonna need it. And then go like a berserker, because the clock's running down on you. Once multiple attackers get involved, the clock starts running. To add to what was said, most martial arts don't train even with a single opponent who would be going in with full resistance and intention to hit. To imagine what it would mean to have more than one such person without any restraints can already open up our eyes to the reality of multiple attackers. It is also important to recognize that the strategies offered by Bruno Orozco and Paul Sharp are something that is rarely addressed in martial arts, especially such advice as using improvised weapons as a means to defend, since many martial arts primarily rely on their physical skills and body to defend. To remind everyone of various possibilities is essential. One more such strategy was also offered by Bruno Orozco. To quote him, "Who hits first, hits twice." And so in that sense, defense is not defense, but 100% offense. This concept in martial arts, where you only defend yourself if you're being attacked, is completely unreal in street fights. Because if the aggressor hits you once, he will hit you 2 times, and then 3 until you are on the ground. So you have to finish the fight before it even begins. And that concept is not sports-like or even within martial arts as such, because we do not work with the concept of a duel. You want to have the advantage at all costs. I hope this video helps remind everyone that reality of fighting and self-defense is not as pretty as in movies. It is often enough a matter of life and death with a huge amount of unknown and unpredictable variables. For someone who lives in a fantasy that it is simple to beat multiple opponents just with martial arts and fighting skills, it is a fantasy which may be fatal. It is most important to stay humble and to realize the seriousness of such a situation, to address the reality of it, and to know and practice the offered advice by Paul Sharp and Bruno Orozco if we want to raise our chances of survival. Do you agree with the points mentioned in the video? Was something important left unsaid? Let me know in the comments. If you want more videos like this one, subscribe to the Martial Arts Journey channel. This was Rokas, and I wish you to own your journey.